Well, would you look at that? Okay, so last night before dark, just before dark or at dark, I decided to go out and give this thing a test run. Now, the moisture on this is about 22% on the top. The lower is 26, 27. So what I did, and you can't see it from here, but I did the end rows out along, not the end rows, the side rows out along the road, because the deer were in there knocking it over, and they were busting the ears open and picking the corn out of the ear. So I decided I would just cut them off at the pass there. Combine worked pretty good. We are losing some out the back, so that means I have to make some adjustments. This is a 12-acre field. There's probably only 11 acres left between the stuff that we took out here for junk, and so there's probably 11 acres there. This is 18 rows back and forth along that wood line up there. Filled it right up, 240 bushel bin. There's probably 230 bushels in here. It ain't quite to the top. So I can be pretty happy with that so far. Yeah, for an outside round, one pass up wasn't too great. The second pass back, I still could see daylight through the back of the glass of the cab quite a bit. It had just hit the glass in the cab right back here. You can see right here there was glass there, and you can see it was humped up in there, but then the third pass all the way to the top topped her right off. So once we get into the heart of this field, it's going to be pretty good. I don't know what the yield is. I won't know what the yield is till it gets through the dryer and I figure out what the moisture is and all that other happy horse shit. Header worked pretty good. A little bit of an adjustment I need to make here. It's no big deal. It's just there's a stopper someplace that needs to be dealt with. I'm gonna say it's that stopper right there. This guy right here. I would say that if I could move that up one pinhole, it would make a huge difference. So I'm probably gonna do that. I don't know. It just seems like it's a little bit droopy compared to the one on the other side, and it is one hole. Now the header worked pretty good. The stalks are extremely green yet, so it's not stripping them down. I will have to, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to the grain dryer. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the inside of one of these, but I guess I could give you a little walkthrough. It's pretty simple. Do you got that wrench? Yep. I might need to. What'd you do? Pick out the shittiest wrench you could find? Oh, yeah. Give me some free-all crap. Okay, so basically what this is, these things are, is a great big fan that shoots fire clear across the end of this thing. Well, not entirely. You got some free-all. Yeah, let's see if we can put some of this stuff on here. This stuff actually works tremendously well. I have become a firm believer that this is way better than PB Blaster and definitely better than WD-40. But anyway, okay, so how this works is you put the grain in the top, right? And it fills these panels. Each one of these is a divided panel. And I think you can see the divider there. And it is about a foot thick, if not 14 inches thick. It looks more like 14 to 16 inches thick to me. This is a continuous batch dryer. You can either run it as a batch or you can run it continuously. If you run it as a batch, this thing will fill automatically. It will run that fan until the humidistats say, hey, you are at around 16.5%, and then the fire will shut off and it will cool the corn that is in here for a period of 25 minutes, and then it will drain. I don't know why that's in there, but that's kind of interesting. That's a straw. These things end up everywhere. They will cool for approximately 25 minutes, and then that auger that's down in the bottom will kick on, and the metering wheels there will run at a set rate of speed, you know, to dump the grain out of these panels. As that happens, The auger on the outside, the one that will be hooked to a gravity wagon, will just continue to fill the top until the corn gets to a certain level, like about here, and then the fire will kick back on again. It'll shut that thing off. The fire will kick on, run until the humidistat says, okay, pal, this is how this is, and the process goes over and over again. Now, that is the batch drying side of it. The continuous flow is just that. The corn will continue to come in the top, and it will continue to go out the bottom at different speeds. Speeds that you set over on the control panel, which I will show you in a minute. All right, so that corn comes out of here hot. It comes out of here depending on the temperature that you've got it set and the amount of moisture you're trying to remove. It'll come out at different rates of speed. There's a high and a low. So if the corn starts to get too dry, or the humidistat says, hey, stupid, it's too hot in here, it is too dry, it will go to the high speed and it'll send a batch of hot corn out into the bin where it belongs, and fresh, cool corn, wet corn, will come in the top, and it'll regulate and go through its process. So, and that's how that works, and the fire stays on constantly. Now let me get out of here real quick, and I will show you what the panel looks like. Okay, so we're at the control panel. The control panel is nicely sealed. It has been years since I have used this thing, so I will need to get refamiliarized with it. This is a 118. I believe Jeff Ramon has one of these, but what we do is we turn on the power. Boom. And I had on Instagram the other day the time warp. So this is how old this thing is, 93, 94. It has 5,535 hours. It says it's February 6, 2129 at 61:43 p.m. I do not know why it does that, other than the battery that runs this panel. There is a battery, has gone dead, and it will need to be replaced. So when you turn that thing on, you have a safety switch, which is the reset button. And all you do is you hit that, right? And then that will kick it on. You have your unload option RPM there, and your bushels per hour, which are 0 at the moment. And this is your humidistat, okay? So you set this dial. This is actually your temperature in there. You set this dial to the temperature in which you would like it to run. Okay, so right now the temperature outside is 65 to 60 or to 70 degrees, and that will start to move there. So if I say, hey, you know what, I want to run this corn at 100 degrees, and it will dry it out pretty rapidly and go through the system. I want to say that this is a 600 to 650 bushel an hour 600 to 650 bushel an hour dryer. Now, what I was talking about was your high and your low speed. So when you're running this thing in continuous, right there, so I would set this to continuous speed, you have the high, or the high and the low. So if the corn is coming out too damp, you can slow this one down. There's a little lock on there, and you turn a little dial, and you say, hey, you know what, I only want to kick out 200 bushels an hour. Or if you got it really dry and you really want to crank it up, you can turn that dial clear up to 1,000, I think. But I like to run it around 530. I think that's where I was when I quit. So 220 to 530 is generally where I'm at with that. I could go 50-50, but for some reason I don't. I don't know why I don't. I just don't. I want that low speed to be slow and then the high speed to be high, so it's kicking on, turning off. And that's in your automatic mode. I'll probably change all this until after that bin is repaired. They're coming in a week and a half to do that. But that's just the gist of the machine. Your heater goes to auto when batch drying, and on when, and you just turn the heater on when you're running the continuous. So yeah, what else is there? The fan runs except burning batch unload. Fan runs continuously, so you would turn that thing on. It is quite a fan. The startup is pretty intense. Ready? Watch this. Okay. We had that replaced a few years back, and that motor has never gotten any farther than that. I've been tripping and over it because it's very heavy. So anyway, that's what that is. Anyhow, I will run this in continuous flow. I will not run it in batch. Well, I will be running it in batch because my grain bin isn't fixed. But I'm gonna fill this thing up, and I'm gonna dry that corn, get things dialed in, make sure that the corn dryer is working or the grain dryer is working, and then I'm going to put it into that conical bin. I will dry this down to somewhere around 14% moisture because and I will cool it because a conical bin will mold in there. So I want to fill that up. It'll hold roughly 18 to 2,000 bushels of corn, of dry corn. So I'll just call in a truck and have them haul it out of here when I get that full, which shouldn't take but a little bit, not long at all. Yeah, so that's it. I can shut this control panel off, and I can put this thing in here like so. I don't have to latch the upper one. When your dryer isn't in use, you have these fancy little clean outs, right? You lock those back into place like so. Same thing here. Boom. And I've got wires there that need to be replaced because they're really bad. This is the wire for the loading auger. So now I'm going to climb back inside and finish the job I started. So I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing here. All right. See that? That's not good. I'm going to need Grant here. So there was an issue in this dryer when we finished with soybeans last. There was a clump of shit that got in there and it was blocked up. And it took a little bit of time, but I was able to get it all out of there without any damage to the dryer. So what I have done is I have put that Freol stuff on there, and I'm hoping, yeah, that's gonna work. But we gotta get that cleaned up. There's a little bit of stuff right there. A little bit of rusty, crusty crap, which is never good in a grain dryer. You don't want rust. So I got both of those panels. Now what I did was I raised those up so I could get in there and clean that out. And then it would just dump right out the bottom, because that gate at the bottom, at the end of the season, you'll dump all that stuff out of there. When I put this dryer in, it was kind of in haste, meaning I did it pretty quickly. I didn't put it in the way I wanted to put it in, but it was the way it had to go in, if that makes any sense to you. If I had it to do over again, I would pour a cement pad underneath it, but you know what? I'm not doing it over again. So hey Grant, I want you to grab a 1/2-inch wrench and go to the outside, because I got to tighten up these bolts that are in here. And I need you to hold on to them. So I will do that, and then we'll get back to this. Okay, so there's a bunch of noise going on. That is the grain dryer. I got a broken thing here, the tedder. I'm gonna cut it in half and throw it at the scrapyard, I swear. Every time I use that thing, it's just an aggravation anyway. But anyway, we're just about done with hay anyhow. I'm gonna walk over here and I'm gonna show you what this thing looks like. It is almost dry enough. I wanted it about 145 degrees, not quite 150. So she's getting there. You set this temperature to bring that corn down to, I wanted it 14.5, 15%, because I've got to put it in that conical bin up there. The reason I got to put it in the conical bin is because I haven't gotten my bin worked on yet. They were supposed to be here this week, and now they're not coming until the 9th or the 12th in that area. A little disappointing, but what do you do? Anyway, I'm going to show you the fire. This thing is really loud. Is a fire-breathing dragon. It really is. So the corn I picked The corn I picked last night was about 26-27%, and I've said this a couple times already, but the deer have gotten in and they're knocking an area down where the wind had blown it down out there. The deer have decided to knock it down and are busting the ears open, and they're just making a bigger mess. So there's about a third of that field that's really damaged, and I want to get that under control. I want to get that off of there, but my combine broke today. I had a belt break on the unloading auger, and the reason it did that is because of the wet grain. So wet grain can be a real pain in the ass. It's really tough on things. And there's the remains of the belt. I didn't have one. I also have a bearing on the shoe that's going bad, or is bad, so I have to replace that, and that has to be done before I can pick any more corn, which is good. Good test run. Went out, combine worked really good, the header worked really good. The stalks are entirely too green. I'm probably 2 weeks out from actually being able to go like I mean to go. I just want to get at least 2 loads out of here. I want to sell 2 loads because I got a lot of bills that need to be paid, and yeah, so I need money. I do need money, and but I want to get that done. I want to get those deer out of my hair. I want to get a couple thousand bushels in that conical bin so I can call up and get rid of 2,000 bushels. I'm not hauling those yet. So I'm about dry now. I'm just going to shut the fire off, and then I'm going to let it cool down. It'll take about 20 minutes to cool. So I'll take you over there real quick. We are where I need to be. Once this light drops off, that means that corn is dry enough I can cool it. So, and it's not far. You can see those 2 green lights there. Once they turn bright green, this light will shut off, and it will actually go into the second speed if I was running anything out of it. So I'm not running anything out of it at the time, so I've just got it shut off, as you can see right there. I've got a cart over there that I could run some out of, but I'm not quite, I don't want to yet. That thing's about ready to shut off. And when it does, I will shut off the fire.